What's going on, guys? I'm SimpleSimon. I'm your comic book noob. Welcome to the NOOB Rebirth. I'm here with, who's that? Who's that? Say hi, Mark!
Hi, Mark. Hi.
It's been a few weeks. You know what? I think the last episode was the first time you ever didn't say hi, Mark. I was very disappointed in you.
Oh, you were disappointed.
It's like a trademark now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a hashtag.
Hashtag hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hello, Mark.
Anyway, today we're gonna do a video about, it was actually a suggestion in the comment section from Zaz Collectibles and Comics. He suggested that we do an episode talking about video game movies.
Video game movies.
I think that's a good one.
There've been a lot.
There's been a lot, and there's been a lot of bad ones.
Mostly bad.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into it and talk about some video game movies. So I figured we'd start with something because the Super Mario Brothers is out at the moment, which I'm actually quite excited for. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm super excited for that.
And also The Last of Us, which is a video game.
Of course, Last of Us,
So that just finished not long ago.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we're talking video game movies. Actually, Last of Us was probably the first video game TV show, maybe?
No, surely not. I'm sure we'll think of something before. No, surely not. Yeah.
Yes, I just thought of one. There was a Street Fighter TV show.
Well, there you go.
One season.
Of course. There was an anime as well.
Which was pretty good.
And also Mortal Kombat was a TV series as well.
It was?
Yes. And
hang on, when was that a TV show?
it was like back in the early noughties probably. The main character was Kung Lao, which is the guy with the hat, or the blade hat. He was the main character.
Anyway, you were saying Mario Brothers.
We're going to start with the original Mario Brothers movie, because I remember seeing that as a kid, and I remember once we walked out of the cinemas afterwards, I was like, what did I just watch? How is that a Super Mario Brothers movie? It was really, do you remember it?
Vaguely. One thing I do remember is they had Italian accents.
Did they?
Yes.
Okay, that I can't remember.
Yes.
But yeah, I wouldn't say it was a very good movie at all. There were so many 90s trash when it came to video game
and
movies.
80s as well.
What are some 80s ones?
I'm pretty sure Double Dragon was in the 80s,
No,
wasn't
that was
it?
90s.
Was
That's had
90s,
Scott
really?
Wolf and Mark Dacascos.
Yeah.
That was bad.
That was really bad.
That was very bad.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. I think 90s was the video game era.
Yeah, it was.
It was the first Mortal Kombat movie.
That was good. The first one was good. No, the first one was good,
I agree with that.
The first one was good.
I'll agree with that because the one that they released last year, was it last year?
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't see that. Oh, no, it's probably a couple of years
that was
ago
pretty
now.
bad.
Really?
Oh, that was pretty bad, man.
Okay. And then there was the Street Fighter movie, right? So I saw that the first night it came out. I still remember, I was still like quite young. This was in the 90s, so I was still a teenager. And again, I left the cinema like, was that a Street Fighter movie?
Best part of that movie was Raul Julia.
He was good as Spice.
He was so good, man. Like he made that film.
There was actually, oh no, actually that's not true. There's the famous Van Damme speech when they're talking about going across the river. He's like, what's he say? He's like, I'm gonna kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it.
Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
And Kylie Minogue as Cammy.
It was just weird that like Ken and Ryu were like little side characters.
I know, right? Oh, it was bad. But then you see the Street Fighter, the movie.
There was an anime one.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh man, that blew my mind. Like it just,
because that was
so good.
Because it was about what Street Fighter's about. It was Ryu traveling the world to find people to fight.
Street Fighter, yeah, to hone to hone.
That was
But the movie was very well. The narrative of that film was Ken was a movie star in Hollywood, you know, playing, you know, action movie star, and Ken, and Ryu was, you know, traveling, you know, being, you know,
he's like a drifter.
Yeah, a drifter. Yeah, with all these positions in a sack. He would just do street fight in the street, and you know, take on challenges to hone his challenge. But throughout the movie, you see they keep going back to their training and how they, you know, Ken and Ryu.
Oh, how they grew up together, yeah.
How they grew up together. Then they see, you know, like Bison and Vega and all that, how the villains of that. It was just such a great anime. I absolutely fell in love with it when I was younger.
Really it's funny, they always seem to be able to do, like, stick to the source material better with animation than with live action. Whenever they do live action, it's just like, what the hell? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Remember the name U-Bowl?
No.
You don't remember U-Bowl?
No.
So he directed, and this is probably late 90s to early noughties, he made a string of video game movies, right?
Really?
So picture this, right? So I'm working at Blockbuster.
So was he a director or something?
He was a director.
Okay.
He directed a whole bunch of video game movies. So when I left high school, I wanted to be a filmmaker. That was the dream, right?
That was the dream.
I was working at Blockbuster. I was like, oh, this is how like Tarantino started. Yeah, right? I'm gonna be a filmmaker. So
But then he started smoking weed.
in my head, I was already smoking weed. But one of the movies in my head, I was like, I'd love to make a movie on House of the Dead. Remember the video game House of the Dead?
Yeah.
Right, shoot 'em up at the, so the storyline would go, a hospital is being taken over by zombies because that's what the video game was about. And then the two dudes show up, and you know who my two dudes were in my head, my visualization of this movie? George Clooney and Keanu Reeves. They were my two guys who showed up and blasted the zombies, right? So I'm working at Blockbuster, and we used to get the magazines to tell you what was coming out, right? And I was like, holy crap, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, House of the Dead, the movie. I was like, they're making my movie. I didn't know U-Bowl at the time, right? But he was directing it. And it said, in quotes, the Matrix of zombie films. And at the time, Matrix was still pretty new, because this is like early 2000s. So the Matrix of zombie films, House of the Dead, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be the best film ever. And it was the biggest pile of trash. I was like sitting there like, where's this bullet time that I'm expecting? And then I swear to God, there's this one scene where it just shows the three characters. It's like they're standing on a spinning thing, and they're just frozen like this, and they spin around like this.
Oh,
and that's all it does, and it was so bad.
Talking about shoot 'em up games, a segue into one of Dwayne Johnson's probably regrets, which was the Doom movie. Oh, what a shocker.
I remember the first person shooter scene.
Oh man.
It was bad.
He would regret that, man. And then there was like Resident Evil was awesome. Loved Resident Evil. That was a shoot 'em. Was that a shoot 'em up game? Was that a
No,
first person?
that was a third person.
Oh, that's right, third person it was too.
It was kind of like Silent Hill, but more
that,
action.
But that first Resident Evil,
yeah,
that first one, where she wakes up in the mansion and then she goes down into the facility, and I thought that was awesome. Michelle Rodriguez, I think, was in that.
I think I've only seen the first two, and there was probably like 5 or 6 of those.
Oh, and the rest. I think there was 6 or 7. But I only saw the first one, and then I saw the second one, and I said, this is going to places that's going to suck. And it did. But the first one, I still love the first one. I thought it was really well made.
I mean, more recent ones, there's like Sonic the Hedgehog finally became a movie.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Which was, the first one was okay, I didn't mind it. But again, it kind of stuck to that formula of like, let's do our own thing. Let's not make it about, he's not in the video game world. They pay homage to that. Like, they tell you where he's from and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, what if Sonic was on Earth? It's like the typical.
There was Assassin's Creed, which sucked as well.
Never saw that.
Like, what a poor excuse for a great game franchise. All they needed to do was do what Last of Us did, was follow the video game. So it was handed to them on a platter, and they still stuffed it up.
Well, another TV show that's more recent, that's a video game, Halo. They did a Halo.
Oh yes, they did too. Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but
Halo.
they played a lot lot of ads for it, and they were pumping it hard.
Yeah, it was on.
And the trailers look good.
It's on Paramount. No, on Amazon.
Yeah.
No, Paramount.
Just going back to U-Bowl. So he was known to be a terrible director, right? There were people, obviously game franchises have big followings, so people were just like handing it to him online, right? So there's actually this documentary that he was in, it's called Heckler, and it's about comedians who get heckled. And they actually go to a bit about U-Bowl, and U-Bowl challenged a bunch of haters online to get into a boxing ring with him. So they actually had this in the documentary, they had 3 people show up, right, to box U-Bowl. Turns out U-Bowl is a Golden Gloves boxing champion, and he beat up 3 guys in one day.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that now.
They would have had to have signed.
Oh yeah, but all the haters now, all the keyboard warriors, they haven't got the balls to do that. More of that needs to happen. They did a lot of animation stuff from video games, like the anime and other video games animated.
There used to be a show that I watched as a kid called Captain N. I don't know if you remember that. But it was about this kid who's, I don't know, I can't remember how it started, but I think he was just really good at Nintendo, and then he got somehow thrown into a world where Mega Man was one of the characters. I think.
Well, we're missing one of the biggest video game movies ever, Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and then there was Ready Player One. which wasn't based off a video game, but it was around that video game culture.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
What about the Wizard back in the day?
Oh yeah.
That was a killer.
I can't wait. The thing I'm looking forward to with the Mario movie, the new one, is the Mario Kart.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. That is such a great game. I've had many hours playing that game with my nephews. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm glad they added that in. You know, like I hope it's a good film, even though hopefully I can get over the whole Italian accent thing.
Mate, people are just whinging, mate. Like, Jesus Christ.
But it's true though. They're Italian, man.
Yeah, but can you really put up with that?
It's
like
Mario and Luigi, yeah?
Yeah, I know, but like putting up with that for the whole movie, I don't know if it's really that necessary.
It is necessary, man.
Okay.
It's a homage to the origins of Mario and Luigi.
Well, if you ever played Nintendo games, they don't even talk.
They're not American. Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. You play a Nintendo game, when there's like talking, there will be like speech to text, but then they actually just go. They don't actually talk.
Oh man. Whee! What about that?
Okay, maybe that.
Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
3
this.
movies of Angelina Jolie, or two,
And then there was the other one.
The other one sucked.
Was it? Did
Oh
it really?
man, it was just a bad story. Again, handed to them. They had a video game, the reinvented origin of Lara Croft. They used a similar engine that they used for the Arkham Asylum games, right? Similar engine, right? And their story was so really well done in the game. Loved it. Watched the movie. She had the same look as the game, everything. But the story was handed to them, and they just, stuffed it up again. That was bad. That was so bad. I'd rather watch the Angelina Jolie movies. They were awesome.
Were they?
Yeah, they were great. Oh, they were really down core to what the games were. A girl in shorts, Indiana Jones with 2 guns, singlet, braided hair, archaeologist. Awesome. What games would you like to see made into a movie that haven't already been made into a movie?
I'm just gonna go basic here. So Contra would have been a good one from back in the day. Maniac Mansion was one of my favorite. Remember that game? They could do that and it would be very Scooby-Doo like. There you go. There's mine. What about you, Mark?
Oh yeah. Okay, finally. Well, me, I would love to see the game Tenchu. Remember the game Tenchu? It was a ninja game on PS1.
Oh, okay.
It was so good, and they use a lot of the made up like sound effects that you would hear from ninja games. And all these was so classic. They did Tenchu 1 and 2, and number 1 was so good. It's what made me buy a PS1. It was, I would love to see I would have loved to have seen a movie Tenchu.
Ninja things aren't really a thing anymore, are they? Like,
no. I think they made did they make a Shinobi? Did they make a Shinobi movie?
I don't know. I'm just wondering. I know they did a movie just called Ninja.
Yeah.
But like Ninja Gaiden, Shinobi.
Assassin.
Well, that stuff.
A lot of ninjas, man.
It was big back in the 90s, but.
And 80s. The ninja thing was big in the 80s.
American Ninja.
Yeah, American Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja.
3 ninjas. 3 surf ninjas.
Yeah. Ninja was big, mate. Big in the 80s.
All right, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Sean from Zars Collectibles and Comics for the suggestion.
I like that one. Thanks.
Yeah, we nerded out hard on
Thanks,
that one.
Shawnee.
Again, if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if we know anything about them, then we'll nerd out on that stuff too. So, anything from you, Mark? Anything coming up?
Don't forget Free Comic Book Day. All right, May the 6th.
I may or may not be there. Anyway, guys, until next time.
Can't believe that.
Say bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark. Yay.
Keep it simple.
More of that needs to happen. Old school challenge. What? You offend me? I'll meet you behind the church at 6.
Yeah, because a lot of those games would have like an actual video game.
Yeah.
And then they'd release the movie based on the video game, and then they'd release the video game based on the movie. And it'd be terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. Up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down,
Up, down, down, left, right, left, right, BA, BA.